Hiya, Bruce.
Hello, hello, hello. So, the gallery's been open about, well, exactly a year now, and we've had lots of really nice, good shows here, lots of good, interesting people. The work I've been doing for the last 6 months is the work that's in here. It's all mine. I realised a few weeks ago that what I was doing was a body of work, really, which I haven't really done before. So I put it all here. Yeah, the last 6 months' work. The blue one here, that was the end of a phase of sort of big blue paintings, and they've started going monochrome. So I think so about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I did this almost by accident, completely by accident. And suddenly it felt like one of the drawings, drawings that I do, quick charcoal sketches. I love the sketches. They seem to capture something of the mood or what I want to at the time. They take 5 minutes. And they're small. I started to explore how I could make paintings that felt like the drawings, and that's what this is about, really.
Yeah.
What do I like about the place? What can I take away? What's the minimum that could be in a painting that still is evocative of the place? Been looking at Turner, Dutch masters, Turner's paintings, and Franz Klein. I've started making monochrome paintings, trying to make them look like the drawings, making them abstracted about the place. These three, they're kind of, trying to paint bigger. They feel like boats, they feel like the seafronts. They're not necessarily specifically about one thing.
Yeah.
They're not, yeah. And it ended with the triptych a couple of weeks ago. And finally, this big painting here. That's the last thing I did. The paint's still wet. But I'm quite pleased with this, but it's about, it's mostly about this drawing here.
Yeah.
I realised as I was doing this work that for the last 30 years or so, when I go to the National Gallery, mostly or any gallery in Europe, the sketches I do kind of feel the same. They feel like my drawings, and hopefully I'm beginning to feel these sketches, these paintings are beginning to feel like the drawings.
I always thought of your paintings as quite minimal anyway. You strip them down to a few lines. I mean, these describe the groins, the wooden structures in Whitstable that protect the town from flooding. You're synonymous with Whitstable. Is that true?
Well, I've been here 35 years now. Gallery on the seafronts, living on the seafronts. I've got a bigger gallery space now, and I think I've got a big gallery space, so I'll do bigger paintings. I think at the moment size is important. Yeah.
Scaling up these things from the sort of the tiny drawings we see here to these enormous expanses of paint, on this one here, is a tricky thing to do, to make it make sense. The translation is difficult, I think.
Yes, and I suppose it is about translation. I think the paintings are changing, the scale's getting bigger. And the simple reason is I've spent more time painting. I think that's the more I paint, the more I want to paint.
Yeah.
I think all artists, we're quite boring really, because we're just interested in how this big shape relates to this little shape, how this pushing the horizon down helps you have a big expanse of sky. The Dutch learned that trick. Low horizon, big sky.
Yeah.
High horizon, small sky. They're dramatic things. The more you look at Turner, the more you realise this looks like a naturalistic scene in Rotterdam. There's some barge coming in. The whole thing, none of these boats would have been where they are now. He's composed it. This boat is a third of the way through the image. This boat is a third of the way through that image there. That one breaks it down yet again into it. It was a smaller painting. Yeah. So they wouldn't have been there, he'd have put them there, even if his horizon isn't actually level.
The process of painting, the fine adjustments and bigger adjustments you make during the process, almost like a set of frustrations that you have to deal with. And you put down the first mark and you've immediately got a problem to solve.
That's true. You put down the mark, you've got a problem. If we go to this one, this is a good example. Philip Guston said, in order to, you've got to be prepared to lose everything. You've got to there's a boldness is important as much as anything else. You have timid marks, you have careful marks. This painting, at one point it was very frustrating, nothing was working, so I did get a huge amount of paint and just made this very dramatic flippant mark down here. Of course it changed everything. That bold mark made timid marks feel too timid, made other ones unnecessary. So then I'm working, the whole thing was then based on this sense, this mark here, which is about how I feel about the breakwaters, the way they move down here.
Yeah.
The drama, I think they are tricks and rules you learn about making big marks and little marks, small pencil marks.
Yes.
You know, the contrast between this 4-inch brush mark here and these little marks here are all important. They all make the painting. It's finished when I think I've solved that problem.
Yeah.
Or rather, I haven't finished it, I stopped working on it. And the next painting, the next painting starts trying to take it to the point where I left the last one, which is like this one. There are things in there I liked and I tried to put them here. The moment you do, like you said, the moment you make a mark, everything changes. You've scraped the problem. So it became something else. But it's always a question, what if I put a bit of blue in here? And that's the fascination here. There's an almost infinite way of doing things, so it just keeps you interested.
Yeah.
And I'm very lucky because I don't spend all my time doing it.
Let's talk a bit about the subject matter, because I know we've spoken in the past and you've expressed not nervousness but something like that when people describe you as a seascape painter, because I see this work and I see
loads of seascapes.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not really thinking about. I'm thinking about each painting as I do it. I'm thinking about the previous one. Again, a couple of weeks ago before this show started, I put the show up and somebody said, "Oh, it's all seascapes again," and I hadn't even thought of it. It is, weirdly, all seascapes again. Yeah. Sometimes I'm concerned about a tweeness. I really mind that much. Yes, especially if you've got somebody standing here asking you, do you already paint seascapes? And they're standing in front of a painting that is clearly an orchard of olive trees. So I think the question, they're not looking, so it doesn't really matter.
Bruce, we're in your studio now, obviously.
Yes. So studio, nice big wall, lovely easel. A friend of mine gave me.
I'm looking at your palette. I mean, I've always been amazed at this, because compared to the one I use, which is this titchy little thing which you always laugh at.
I'm always saying, but it took me a long time to work out. You don't need to just mix it up in here. So what I do now is mix up an awful lot of paint in a nice big pot like that. It's about 80 quid worth of paint in there. I know now that one of the reasons I paint is if the work isn't in front of me. If I don't go into the studio and the painting's there, I'm reminded, that's what I do. I'm going to paint. I forget to do things all the time. Things don't get done, and I get into trouble for that. But the painting always gets done, and I think it's because I walk into the studio, there are paintings there that need to be done. One of the reasons I like to paint them is when I look at what painting I've done, there's nothing I've forgotten in there. I haven't forgotten to do something. It's all been done, or something needs to be done. It's very clear. I understand it. It all makes sense. The palette, for painting here. My world is perfect. They've got a square metre of a perfect world. I'm totally in control of everything. I know where the paint is, I know where the brushes are. As you move out of that, as you move out of that thing, things start to go wrong. And they start to fray and crack and go wrong. So that's my happy space, the perfect world, which I've created. So I think I probably need that. I think we all need that. It's your happy place. And that's the studio, which is why I'm probably here far too long every night. Having the show here, you feel a bit, is it imposter syndrome, I suppose? You think,
you described that when you set up the gallery and you were putting your name above the gallery.
Imposter syndrome. And you're promoted, but of course if you don't have an agent or you don't have a gallery, you have to do your own promoting. So, sometimes I think I've created a monster. I've built a monster, this whole machine, so I can carry on painting. And I suspect that it would have been just a damn sight either. I carried on traipsing around London.
And did a bit.
I found the gallery, yeah.
Yeah, and did a bit of part-time teaching to. Yeah, you've done it. They're kind of an odd way round, you know. But then that's great. I mean, you're contributing to the community of the town.
But yeah, done it the odd way round. But it's taken me a very long time to realise it doesn't. It's not done in a I've done it in this sort of the usual way. But I don't think it matters. Yeah.
Sometimes I come in here and that stove's glowing, and I look at Bruce painting over here, and he looks really happy. He's so happy.
I might be here for 6 hours feeling guilty I haven't done any painting for like 10 minutes or something like that. But I was listening to Philip Guston in an interview. He goes into his studio and he wanders around and he might make one mark in a painting, and yeah.
I liked it when Guston said sometimes you do something in the process of painting and you're not ready for it yet. It's something new and you kind of reject it and you paint over it, you go back. And then oddly it emerges at some other point and you're thinking, oh yeah, maybe that's what's happening. You know, you then start to use logic and you start to plot the next move.
Yes, no, that's exactly right. That's what this was about. That's why I've shown the workings out there, because exactly like you said, he said, you don't necessarily know what you've done at the time.
Yeah.
And you need time and you need to explore other avenues to find out what you were doing. And I've noticed what a recurring thing with me is I'll do something by accident often. And then, so it's done by accident, and then I will then try to, how did it happen and why? And then eventually I think when I feel the work is, some of those paintings work eventually because I've found out how to do it deliberately rather than by accident.